in the case of this movie, and it's similar to the way Owen and I worked together, but with Noah and I on this movie, what we did was we met every day in an Italian restaurant on 6th Avenue and before lunch, and stayed there until after dinner, and we talked through it. And that's we literally wrote the whole movie in an Italian restaurant. Yeah.
What was the Italian restaurant?
Barbiti. You know it?
Yes, I do. I do. So now, for all you aspiring filmmakers, you know,
that's the place to go.
There is magic in those tables. So, but you'd sit down and you talk about character development, you talk about a storyline, and is there somebody sitting there with a laptop saying da-da, da-da?
I keep a little notebook and I write it down, and we figure out all the dialogue. And the thing is that we get very animated there, and I kind of start acting out the scenes, and everybody who works there knows the entire story of the movie. I mean, all the waiters and everybody, they watched it progress bit by bit. You know, the day we decided to have a pirate attack, everybody there was participating in that.
Thought that was great.
Yeah. And some of the names of characters come literally off the menu, and you know, we're informed by everything around us there.
All right. Here, Kate Blanchett's character is Jane Winslet Richardson.
Right.
Reporter.
Yeah, National Geographic type reporter.
Right.
In some ways, her look is inspired by Jane Goodall,
right.
and you know, and she's a fantastic actress, somebody who I'd been really dying to work with.
Roll tape. Here is a scene from with Steve Zissou and Bill Murray, interviewed by Jane Winslet Richardson, Kate Blanchett.
So what happened, in your opinion?
What are you talking about?
Well, don't you think the public perception of your work has significantly altered in the last 5 years?
That's your first question? I thought this was supposed to be a puff piece.
Should we come back to it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it true that this is going to be your last voyage?
Wow. No comment. Who told you that? No, damn it. I'm only 52. I'm always start out with some stock dialogue. You know, favorite color, blue.
The Kate's character is sort of viewed like National Geographic. You know, clearly Bill is. There are ideas of Jacques Cousteau, as you say, who I interviewed a number of times, as well as his son. You know, you are a huge admirer of Jacques.
Yeah, I'm a great fan. You know, Cousteau was one of my heroes as a kid. I mean, I was right at the generation where his ABC show, his primetime show, we were obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And there's something heroic about Cousteau, and you know, the combination of somebody who's an adventurer and an inventor, and you know, was a member of the French Resistance. I mean, everything about him is fascinating, and then also his style, his whole world that he created for himself. He's a great filmmaker, I think.
More about the Bill Murray character, Steve.
Yeah. Well, you know, this character, I feel like a lot of it has to do with fathers and sons in this story. There's a relationship between him and Owen's character. Owen is perhaps his estranged son, who he's never met. Owen's 30, he's never met him, and for me, I've always had this kind of every movie I do has something to do with these problems between fathers and sons, and larger than life father figures, kind of legendary characters. And in some way, it's not what I grew up with. My father's not like that at all. He's a very warm person and very engaged with his children. But I've always been fascinated with those kind of characters, those kind of narcissistic, grand people.
Larger than life.
Larger than life.
Roll tape. Here's Team Zissou in underwater preparation for action.
Okay, roll it, Vikram. Would it be possible for me to address you as Dad in this scene? No, why? Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm sorry. It's not a bad impulse, though. Some kind of nickname. Not that one, it's too specific, but try to think of something else. Another name? How about Stevesy? That's good, try it. What were you going to say before? Good luck, Steve. Fantastic. Let's go.
When you make a movie, do you try to collect people that you're going to have fun with?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there's one kind of filmmaker that's like Friedkin or someone like that who wants tension and conflict on the set and uses that.
This is Billy Friedkin.
Yeah. And you know, him and Gene Hackman, I think, was a perfect combination because both of them are people who feed off of attention and use it,
right.
and you feel it in their work. And for me, I'm in the school where I like to have people back who I've worked with before, and I like people to become friends, and I like that to be the energy that it makes, which is just, I mean, I don't think one is better than the other. That definitely, the tension's better for French Connection.
Some of the themes you talk about the father-son dynamic, patriarchy, what it means to be the leader of a group. That's a theme in this. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of almost all the movies that I do. Something about fathers and sons. I don't know exactly what it is.
And your relationship is as good as it could be.
Yeah, it is. But you know, the other thing is I like the idea of somebody who's got a gang, a crew. In this, in this movie, he's got this whole crew, and that's his sort of surrogate family.
Right.
And leading them is what gives him his kind of whole juice, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. But do you feel a little bit like that on set, that this is your family? And
yeah, completely. Yeah, and I think the movie's about an oceanographer, but it's just as much about a filmmaker.
Now that this movie's over and you're promoting it, is your head already in the next movie?
Well, I have a rough idea of what I want to do next. Been kind of thinking I might like to make a movie in India, and I've been thinking about this project a little bit, but it is releasing a movie can be an overwhelming process, and right now I'm in the thick of that.
If I looked at all the movies you've made, would I see some kind of common thread?
Yeah, I think there's something tonal in all these movies that's a little bit off, and I always feel like any character from any one of my movies could walk into another one of the movies and be at home there, and there aren't a lot of other people's movies that I feel like any of them could walk into and fit. It's like a strange texture.
Do you ever want to do something that is dramatically different from anything you've ever done?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, like an epic or
the thing I want to try to do,
a comedy, or
I think I would. My idea is to try to make a movie where we don't make any jokes.
Yeah.
We resist the impulse to try to crack a joke at every turn, and that would be a big change for me.
Who do you admire most among directors?
Well,
who's influenced you the most, or who?
Right. Maybe the biggest influences I think are one I love is Polanski. Polanski is a great favorite of mine, and John Huston.
Who watches your movies?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like I've kind of at one point or another tried to puzzle out, is there an age group or any kind of thing that distinguishes it? I think it's like some personality type.
What kind of type would it be?
Outsiders.
Really? People looking in with their face pressed against the glass, looking inside?
I think so. People who don't feel, people who either just don't feel, people who might feel like misfits. Anyway, that's the way I've always felt, and the people who I meet who are the real diehard fans of my movies, they're always kind of outsiders.
Was it at some point inevitable that you would make movies that was what you're going to do?
I always thought of it that way, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of planned on it, and I don't know what was going to happen to me if it didn't happen.
Did you see writing as a way in?
Yeah, well, I wanted to make movies when I was a kid, and then there was a period of time when, somewhere in high school, I decided I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be J.D. Salinger or something, and then I shifted. But I was always interested in something visual anyway, and I sort of shifted back to that.
Does Bill Murray like the movie?
Yeah. Bill was comparing it to Apocalypse Now the other day.
He was?
Which for a comedy is a strange comparison. Worries me a little bit.
That's great. Congratulations on the movie.
Thanks so much. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.